Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Lopez and we are in grade 8. We are talking about lesson 11 today, that is a volume of the sphere. Before we get to actual volume of the sphere, let's talk about what sphere is. Sphere is like a ball. It has the same radius or same diameter throughout the whole entire ball, otherwise it wouldn't be round, correct? So to find the volume of it will be quite interesting. Let's start with the volume of the cylinder. What is the formula for the cylinder? How do I find the volume of the cylinder? We know that the volume of the cylinder is the area of the base times height. I also know that the area of the base can be calculated by multiplying the radius by itself and multiplying it by the pi. That makes the volume of the cylinder is radius squared pi times the height of the sphere. What will be the height of the cylinder that the sphere can fit into? Since we know that sphere has the same height throughout the entire sphere, the cylinder will have the same height as the diameter of the sphere. So we can call the height of the cylinder is the diameter of the sphere. Diameter of the sphere. Diameter of the sphere is d, that we can find by multiplying radius by itself. And that's the one we are going to use, 2r, for the diameter of the sphere or for the height of the cylinder. If you watched the video on YouTube that relates the volume of the sphere to the cone to the cylinder, you notice that the volume of the sphere takes 2/3 of the volume of the cylinder. We are going to apply that as well. Since we know that the volume of the cylinder is r squared pi multiplied by the height, and if we know that the volume of the sphere takes 2/3 of that, so our formula for the volume of the sphere will be the same in the same way as we were trying to find the volume of the cone. We will take 2/3, volume equals 2/3, and we are going to multiply it by the volume of the cylinder. So 2/3 times radius squared times pi, and instead of the height of the cylinder, we are going to take the 2r because we just figured that the height of the cylinder is the diameter of the sphere. So we are going to multiply it by 2r. That goes instead of the height. Now let's simplify it and see what happens. So I have 2/3 and I have 2. Can I multiply 2 by 2/3? It'll be 4/3. How many r's do I have now? I have radius times radius times radius. So I actually have radius to the 3rd power. 3 radii multiplied by itself. And we have pi left. That is our new formula for the diameter for the volume of the sphere. Volume equals 4/3 radius to the 3rd power times pi. And that's the one we are going to use. I would recommend you to memorize that formula and use it in your equation solving, problem solving. So let's go ahead and try. We have this sphere here with the radius of 4 centimeters. We need to find its volume. We need to look for exact volume. It means we are going to use pi as a letter, as a variable. Volume equals, according to our formula, 4/3 radius to the 3rd power pi, which is 4/3 times 4 to the 3rd power. It's not 4 times 3, it's 4 times 4 times 4 times pi. When we get there, we are going to have 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, which is 4 times 4, I will just write it down all for you, over 3 pi. That makes it 256 thirds pi, and you can make it a mixed number, which is going to be 85 and 1/3 pi, and our units are centimeters to the third power. Okay. Example 2 is tricky. I will just show it to you, but it's pretty tricky. We have a cylinder that has a diameter of 16 inches and the height of 14 inches. We need to find the volume of the largest sphere that can fit into the cylinder. Let's think about that. So what will be the radius of our sphere that will fit into the cylinder? We can say it's 16, but would it be the largest one that can fit? Because if we take it as a 16, our height will exceed our cylinder, because it's also going to be 16. So it can only be 14. The diameter of the sphere can only be 14, because that's the only way it can fit into the cylinder. So we're going to use the radius of the sphere as half that diameter, which is going to be 7. So volume of the sphere is 4/3 radius to the third power pi, which is 4/3 times 7 to the third power times the pi, which is 1,372 thirds pi, and we can make it a mixed number, 457 and 1/3 pi inches to the third power. Okay, let's look at exercises 4 through 7. We will not do the 8. 4 through 7. So number 4. Again, we need to find the volume of the sphere. It is very hard to see on your packet. The radius of the sphere is 6 inches. 6 inches. Volume equals 4/3. Volume equals 4/3 times radius to the third power times the pi. So we are going to write 4/3 times radius to the third power times the pi. That's our formula. Now let's put the numbers in. 4/3 times 6 times 6 times 6 times pi, which is 288 pi inches to the third power. Okay, next one. The average basketball has a diameter of 9.5 inches. What is the volume of that average basketball? We need to round our answer to the 10th place. So whatever we are going to get, we are going to round to the 10th place. The volume of our sphere, which is a basketball, is 4/3 times radius to the third power times pi. So we are going to use 4/3. The diameter of it is 4.5. So what will be the radius? The radius is 4 7/75 to the third power pi. We are going to do our calculations, and we will get approximately 142 9/10 pi inches to the third power. That will be the volume of the average basketball. We rounded our answer to the nearest tenth. Okay. Number 6. A spherical fish tank has a radius of 8 inches. Assuming that entire tank could be filled with water, what will be the volume of the tank? Again, we need to round our answer to the nearest tenth. So we are going to write our formula. Volume is 1/3 times 4/3 times radius to the third power pi, which is 4/3. The radius is 8 times 8 times 8 times 8, not 8 to the not 8 times 3, times pi, and it's going to be approximately 682 and 7/10 pi inches to the third power. Last one here. We are going to use this diagram. So we have a cone that has a radius of 2.5 millimeters and the height of 12 and 6/10 millimeters. And we have a sphere that has a radius of 2 and 8/10 millimeters. We need to predict, what do you guys think? What will have the greater volume, the cone or the sphere? Make your prediction and write it down in part A. And then we'll go to part B. Part B is actually calculating. So how do we calculate the volume of each? So let's get to the cone first. To find the volume of a cone, I'm going to use the formula of 1/3 times the volume of the cylinder, which is 1/3 times radius squared times pi times the height, which is 1/3 times 2.5 squared times pi multiplied by 12 and 6/10. Once you do your calculations, you will see that it is 26 and 25/100 pi millimeters to the third power. When we have the sphere, to find its volume, we are going to use the formula 4/3 times radius to the third power pi. So it's 4/3 times 2 and 8/10 to the third power pi. When we do our calculations and we multiply 4 by 2.8 by 2.8 by 2.8, divide by 3, put the pi next to it, we will get approximately 29 and 27/100 pi millimeters to the third power. Which one has a greater volume? The sphere. Okay, we will skip number 8. We are not going to do that one. Skip number 8. And now it's your turn to do the problem set, and I will see you in class.